Hi guys, thank you very much for joining me. Polina here, chatting to you a little bit about this very phenomenal event in the sky, a total solar eclipse, and of course the new moon, which is happening on the 14th of December in the sign of Sagittarius, and should I also say it is conjunct Mercury and the South Node. So you guys, like, this is a very interesting catastrophical event for a lot of us who haven't really had it done and prepared. It's kind of like, oh whoa, no more for me. There is a taking away of things during an eclipse often, and usually during this time, we kind of have it all down enough to transform. Uh, from one lane to the next, or from one layer to the next, or from one dimension to another, from one way of life to the next, from one group to another. It's usually kind of packed for us before. With this particular sky, it's like enough is the energy for most of us, and it also feels that for some people there is just not perhaps enough self-respect or understanding to really shift things fast. I think some of us are feeling matters become deeper. I think also some people are experiencing a very slow transfusion. It's like life has been preparing you for quite a while and has been kind of whisking you away from your current states. And it also feels to me that for an awful lot of us, there is not really enough to do now in certain places, in a way, just enough to contribute to that space that some of us need to still fathom things before we leap. We are in a very quick time. Mercury, Sun, Moon, South Node. Very good time to, in a sense, liquefy your result. What I mean is to make things very easy to see. It's like do it in a smudge. The overall, okay, cool, so this is my house, okay, cool, this is my job, okay, don't panic. We are swimming deep. There are certainties. Some people have to realize and recognize how far things have gone. And that's where you understand those friends are not your friends anymore, but you're still contributing to them with your time, with your money, with your patience, with your attention. Perhaps that's not at all the situation about you. You're nervous maybe now because you can kind of see there is something passing you by elsewhere, waving at you around the corner saying, hello, can you see that you shouldn't be in this particular situation or outcome? And we sometimes don't want to know it. And sometimes we have the whole rabbit in the headlights feeling, or ostrich with its head in the sand feeling. During these times, it's like, uh-oh, this is not about me, and trust it will be. So very easily things can be done now. So in the next few days you have quite a lot of time and leeway, and probably just enough strength and power, despite all the different things going on in your life, to just take yourself away or carry yourself back to safety and out of anything that is just not good enough for you right now or anymore. Anything that's kind of weird or has a particular type of energy about it. Some of us can feel things very deeply. Some people have a sense of taste or smell about a reality. Synesthesia, yeah. Synesthesia, that word. I'm sure you know the one I mean. This is when you might have a multi-sensory perspective or understanding of a situation or reality, and you can kind of taste it, smell it, and feel it on multiple quantum levels, and you can kind of tell which way is not real for you anymore, and which direction will not give you any more power, strength, and most importantly, passion, because we are in a very fiery and stormy time of Sagittarius, and we're at a new beginning of a ginormous leap for people, for humanity, for a lot of people, I believe, as this Jupiter and Saturn are going to walk into Aquarius, and that's going to bring a new layer of transformational energy into our lives, and also it's going to really expand and attune who we are and who we're not, and also what we can and cannot afford in our lives at all. So we have got to now understand that the appropriateness of what we are about to become, or the appropriateness of what we participate in, is very vast indeed, and it's not kind of sure. The main thing is basically that without doubt you might have not seen things before that way, but that is the way they're going to be seen now. Jupiter has changed its mind many times. It has flipped the coin. It has kind of mimicked life back to itself as it was going through Pluto. And of course, by the end of Capricorn in the last degree, it might not really want to suddenly see things the way it has seen even 5 or 6 days ago. It's a very choppy little Jupiterian ride for us. Pluto is usually a very challenging energy, and also with this mercurial sun, we don't really have much time, because Mercury brings a shortening, to really establish ourselves or our deeds or our next phase of interests or experiences perfectly. Sometimes you just have to go with that next step. Okay, so this is out of my hands. Next step, okay, that person's gone. Next step, okay, this house has fallen through. Next step, okay, that can't be. Okay, next step. There is a sure enough way in which, for most of us, not everyone, most of us, nature has prepared at least something or someone. So the safety net will not maybe hold you for long. That's the thing as well. It's not going to be a long journey there, but there are sometimes intermediate steps between where you are and also where you have been and where you should have been. So there are sometimes tipsy-turvy rides that happen in 3 or 4 fold. So for example, from one house to the next big house you may not go, but you might go to a friend and another friend and 2 more friends, rather than seeing your whole vision yet, unless you're very well prepared. So here, what Rat has gathered is impressive and important. Okay, have you got that friend? Okay, have you got someone to call? Have you got that place to stay? Have you got that robust person that really loves you and trusts you? Have you got enough money? Have you got some kind of padding? Have you got a backup for what you are about to draw in or come out to? The coming out of all comings outs. Coming outs. The reveal of all reveals is probably ready, but it's not quite ready yet. Here's where, before the seed even germinates, it starts to kind of become at its full bloom. It's kind of a very weird feeling. It's like before it's even ready, it's like, whoa, you met somebody. Before you're even ready, you just propose to them. Very quick, very weird shortcut way. Something is chopped out, something is chopped and changed, and like a whole process is dismissed sometimes for some of this. And I also think that sometimes with these types of skies, what you get is not what you wished for in the end, or not at all what you thought, but it will be better than what you have planned. So sometimes it's like an ink spill on your canvas can create the most beautiful result. A sudden shutting of a door can be a big, ginormous opening later on, but without this abrupt shutting or shunning, there wouldn't have been anything like that. And I also believe and trust that for some of us, there's got just to be a gotta go feeling. We are in a very movable, changeable, shiftable, communicatable month. And we also have Venus dragging behind the Sun and Mercury so close by. We have a very giant sky also, Venus and Jupiter at a sextile here. there is a very nice juvenile energy, and some of it is like, you guys, got to pack my bags and get on the road now. Sorry, mate. I can't stay. There is something very gentle and generous about it. I mean, think about that beautiful tarot card, the Fool. Okay, like that beautiful feeling of just jumping out of your previous closet and walking directly, almost directly. For some people, there are buffers, so there's still changes they have to go through, important, into something else. And for all those lucky people out there who can just walk in with absolute pride and joy into that next dimension that was already kind of prepared and carefully sourced. Wow, like that is a very, very beautiful shift. And you'll kind of see where you are. For some of us, there is a very quick slide. It's almost like you don't see it, now you see it. It's like you close your eyes, you blink, and you just become on a different level. There are not many people that can do that, but there are some that are going to be close to this. And this is where, okay, so for example, your job is closing down, clients have run out, you have spent 2 or 3 weeks at your mom's house, and right after you get a big promotion, or your previous boss calls you back, or there's like a big discussion about you at the previous job and you get hired, but in a higher position. That happens as well. So this isn't just an upgrade, this is a changing of time. This is the dawning of the age of Aquarius. I'm not sure, I don't like that song either, but you know, like there is something about people shifting out and into things in a very weird way. Some of the time it might take a zigzag line. It's like going backwards, forwards, going kind of like in a weird way forward without really meaning to. And sometimes we have got to be tricked by nature or tricked by our own inner beings as to how much footwork we do sorry, and how much dancing with reality we do to afford these kind of changes. And some of it is very, very annoying. It's like going backwards many steps and suddenly leaping up and forward and never revisiting that previous place, or doing a backwards turn, walking in, walking out, walking in, walking out, and then completely corrupting the previous cycle, never repeating it again. And that's something that I've said previously in the December videos, and something that stood out to me as a metaphor was the cat. You know, the cat that doesn't really know if it wants to walk through the door. So you're holding up, open a door for a cat. And the cat sometimes, you know, if you're a cat owner, you would probably understand this. They were meowing outside. They don't want to come in. They don't want to stay outside. They're sort of looking at you. They're assessing the situation for way too long. And then it becomes kind of a little bit unbearable. It's like, which way are you going to go? And sometimes the cat will bolt one way or the other. And that's a beautiful thing about this time during this particular eclipse, is that we can't probably understand how or why, but these certain locations, dimensions, conversations, people, experiences, real truths, life choices, they're going to start to become a little bit maybe bigger than us, and they're going to have to be that sometimes that we have to get used to. We have to fill out a little bit with time. There's a little bit of a slight edge of what? For me? Like there's a little bit of this awkward feeling for a lot of people. And for those that are completely like, yes, I'm astounded, I've been waiting for 9 generations for this, that's the best part. If you're very connected to your timeline, if you're very connected to your culture, if you're very connected and also very open to your traditions, to your heritage, to your lineage, it might just make more than enough sense, so much sense that it's like, wow, almost laughable. Like, we were trying to do this with my whole family for like 5 generations, and I know this, and now it's cool, like I'm part of this, and that's exactly what my prophecy was. And then for some people that are more modernized and that have been seduced by, regular culture and a regular sort of like roundy-boundy way of like seeing who they are, sometimes it is very weird and very wacky what life has prepared for us. But it feels to me that it is the joining of all forces at once. Jupiter, Saturn, there's a lot of information about this stuff. They're like, this is the first time in 800 years Jupiter and Saturn made a Christmas star, like something like that. And that's probably true. That's probably true. I don't quite research that, but what I truly trust is that there is a coming to of different things at once. It's almost like merging all the different strands that one has been, all the different concepts that one has participated in, all the different beings that one has embodied, and also all those other forces that have looked kind of similar, familiar, not sure, disruptive, vulgar within one's own soul and within one's own life, kind of joining in and making a very beautiful cloth. It's kind of like a conjoining of all the things that we didn't really think were important to us earlier as well. So what I believe here is that we have a very, very certain, stern, sturdy Saturn embodying the almighty cosmos within Aquarius, heading towards a greater income, greater understanding, greater security within all things, plus a greater maturity to understand every single drop of consciousness within every single being through space and time, embodied also by this incredible connection of Pluto and Jupiter. I mean, to me it looks like Jupiter is really, really safe to say starting to get his point across. I mean, it feels to me that we are starting to get it. So, you know how before we saw some experiences as waste? Okay, we saw some people as wasteful people to chat to, sometimes. And we saw some minds that we had as like proactive mind, but in the wrong direction. We thought that we wasted our time, procrastinated. We didn't really like ourselves for some things. And this is something that I'm coming together through a lot during this time. All the split ends. Okay, all the split ends. Okay, all the lack of organization between different people, all of that which didn't quite work for me before, all of these words and sayings that didn't make sense, all of these inclinations, all these modern day issues, and all of these weird ways in which some of the time, a modern eclectic life might have just suddenly have come to fruition as that one point of experience, so it's kind of like when you see it, your younger self, your young adult self, all of the things that they were into, all the things that they've said to you, everything that they have ever admired, everything that they've ever wanted to be, somehow suddenly makes a better picture, it's more emulsive, it's kind of like more integrative. It has more to speak about. It maybe has more to offer you. Perhaps there is something about you that just gets it. South Node, conjunct Sun. Right. I get it. Oh, I get it. Also conjunct Mercury. The mind catches on. That's what my soul journey is about. Oh, okay. I wasn't actually that out of whack when I did all those drugs as a teenager. Actually, I can see how that fits into my modern day story. Wow, I can understand how I was trying to raise the vibration of my family. Wow. Like I had many years in promiscuous culture, where I spent many, many years with the wrong crowd. At the same time, I can see even how that fits. Okay, I went to prison, I had a really bad time, right. But did you see what I've come out of prison as? I mean, it was kind of a cry for help after all, right. And I didn't really have the home or the heart before, and I really feel like I've restructured my mind. All of that starts to become fruitful and beautiful. My ex is not just an ex, he was a blessing. This girl who was nasty to me, she wasn't a bad person. She was an accelerator and a mood shifter. She was an invitation to dance, a more beautiful dance for me, and embody a greater territory. And all of these things have to be seen as kind of a blessed, unique little lie that we spin for ourselves to be able to live. So, why I'm saying this, the human experience, samsara and maya, and everything that we go through, the drudgery of it all, or the confusion, or the disenchantment, or the enchantment, this festival of life, zesty stuff, huh? Festival of life, it has to be okay, and we have got to just be like, in the mind of one who's already passed on a level, okay? Saying it to ourselves, saying it out loud, I get it in my 20s, oh my gosh, I thought I was so confused, I had so many partners, I was so blue all the time, I was so sad and frustrated, but I was just poetry. I lived some very poetic things, I ate 2-minute noodles and studied all day, and sometimes I wouldn't show up at university, but oh my gosh, what a horrible person I was to my parents, but what a funny person I was with my friends, and honestly, I understand why I did that. It's the greater cause and effect and the huge timelines, So for example, after years of physical oppression, okay, injustice, disjointed families, and sickness and negligence, and maybe even war, maybe even prison, prison camps, I've come out as this big butterfly, and I've embarrassed my family to such a high extent. This is about me right now. I've embarrassed my mom, I've embarrassed my family, only just to see what freedom was in an extreme color. That helped me stop the cause and effect between my parents and also their parents and their parents, and so on and so forth. So you kind of like the rainbow angel, you're like the rainbow God, like saving yourselves, in a way, and your peers, and all that you've come to be, and also your past, through these eurekas that sometimes life may create. And you see, for God, for the goodness of all beings, there's no real right or wrong, there's no good or bad in some respect, and there's no point of being dogmatic here. And also dogma-less people that don't have any dogma at all win. So here's we kind of get tested for nature, this ability to combat fear with absolute natural love and natural force. It just tells it like it is. Like, look, you guys, for example, I took a lot of substances, or I had a lot of recreational activities, or I've done this, or I've done that, or I stole, or I lost, or I murdered, or anything like that. But then at the end of the day, there is nothing I can truly tell that was or was not. Like that robustness, this is that has to start to fade and mellow. And the soul can be sometimes lost for words, so we might not maybe physically think or socially understand any of this, but it just basically comes to a very simple emotional and philosophical, or even inward, or just spiritual, just inner understanding. Like, for example, I cheated on my husband, and all my life I've regretted it, but then when I really understand the story and the full quantum of our lives and how it all sits within the puzzle of the universe, there is no right or wrong, and I understand that there is no point of me harboring that within my body and carrying that shame inside and such. And this is kind of like a big clearing now. So there is a big reconnection, and many people might be recalibrated, retaught, reinstitutionalized, maybe reconnected, shifted around in order to be able to afford these insights. So this is quite scary to understand, I'm not alone anymore. I'm not separate anymore. I'm not confused anymore. I'm not trapped anymore. Or like, I'm not poor anymore. I'm not sad anymore. I'm not depressed anymore. I'm not abundant anymore. I'm just wealth. I'm not sugar-coated anymore. I'm not trying so hard anymore. And these ideas have come from maybe a long story that has to crack open now. And also, I feel that as long as you are safe, everything's okay. So we don't have to bombard other people with our insights. And that's something that we do sometimes, to lose that quantum state because it's itchy. You know, there's like an itchiness of like feeling all this energy at once and suddenly being liberated or somehow uplifted, or life being challenging suddenly or wildly different or strong or just pleasurable or just shifting way too fast for you. All of these energies and bombardment that sometimes rat will give. Sometimes also, like with this Jupiter walking into Aquarius and Sun conjunct South Node, you know, like, wow, like I really want to break. I want to break and just tell someone, like, wow, I'm like feeling like this. There is no safety space to do that. So the insights have to be fast and small, and it's quite okay if you don't really remember them. If you suddenly understand, oh my gosh, my relationship with my daughter is exactly like the relationship I had with my mom, except I am her daughter. That's so crazy. You know, like all of this stuff, don't dwell on it right now. And I've actually been looking into 2021 for a while. Right now, there is such a big wave of issues being cracked open and next, just being shifted. And also there's so many lives at a peril, yeah. And also there are so many people at perils, businesses, you know, last chance for things to close down, last chance for things. There's certain things that are last chance. And I also believe there's going to be a much better world out there to be in than to be in a state of processing. Right now, don't program anything. Don't try and make yourself believe, understand, recognize all of that, like dark night of the soul, I'm trying to crack my puzzle. All of this at the moment has nothing to give, but it can take. And then I'm just like wondering about you guys, you know, if you are working with shadow, if you are working with moon energy, if you're working with the dark night of the soul, if you feel like you're established enough only when you cry and when you suffer for your craft, for your work, for your relationship, you know, for your home, if you feel that tears have cleared you and they were such a bad idea for a long time now, try to see that, okay, Pig Year was inevitably at the end about trying to remember how to get joy out of life, because joy is why we come here. Rat is also a facetious, slightly kind of enthusiastic energy. Sometimes it's a bit of a hoarder, sometimes it breaks his back by doing too many things at once, but at the same time, okay, we're heading towards Ox. Try not to place your quantum that you might be getting right about now, Feng Soul brother, you might be getting right about now into that prism of sorting out your dirty laundry and trying to understand mom and dad. At the moment, please, my friends, try to put away any kind of extreme need to wash your laundry again, trying to understand your past again, working with the shadow. Don't work with the shadow, because we have a very embodying time. We have a huge thing to witness. We have Jupiter, Saturn crossing into Aquarius together. For a lot of people, this is going to change the meaning of their lives. Okay. This is going to change who we are. 21st MC point, okay, purpose point for much of the world. Right now, very important, South Mercury conjunct South Node, very extreme case, okay? Just let it happen. Just enjoy, just see it, just feel it. Just, okay, life pushes you in a different direction. Change lanes, okay, it's fine. Not a problem, okay? We are walking into one of the most extreme dimensional shifts that I've seen for a long time, okay? This is not going to be just like, oh, whoopsie daisy, like, okay, I had some ascension symptoms, I had some ringing in my ears, and I felt a little weird, I felt a little wise, and I woke up at 5 in the morning and I felt brave. These have been happening for decades. There are lots of people now like, what, 2012? No. Decades, you know, people having ascension symptoms. which is just growth. It's normal, boring stuff. Oh my God, my skin is turning to like stardust. It depends how you eat. You just don't worry about it. It's okay. So like the thing here is that you're not, how can I say, you're not meant to go into here like an overhaul of ideas or anything, but that could also happen. Jupiter-Saturn conjunction. So we have matter and pride of intellect, which is what has been crafted and, sculpted for some people in Capricorn, walking into a completely different place. Completely different place. So like what you thought you would do, who you thought you were, and what you felt, and what you felt you meant, and all this stuff. From that hard yard feeling, with Pluto in there, Capricorn really sculpted Jupiter to pieces. Here's what I think, here's what I don't want to think, this is how I'm trying. And maybe some of you guys are already feeling it like I am, like, to hell with it. I've been so boring with myself. Like, I've been going nowhere. I've been trying to conserve energy. I've been trying to save money. I've been trying to do so good. And some of the time, okay, Jupiter cracks open under the pressure of Saturn. They don't like each other. They don't like each other. But the thing that I'm kind of like feeling for you guys the most is that it's a very important and impressive sign for us right now with the sky to recognize the quantum of self-understanding, unity, ideals, recognition, recreational creation, being part of a brighter future, knowing that you can do better than that which you've done before, loving yourself, doing what you realize is good for you, and living your truth. And then everything else, whatever. Not that zesty prototype, huh? So like making that zest appear in your life. Sometimes you're like, I'm saving for a rainy day. I'm waiting for the perfect man. I'm looking at myself in the mirror thinking, I should get more Botox. I should eat like more greens. I should just like eat spinach all my life like a little rabbit. Like we all sometimes go through that. And that's true. And at the same time, I think it's not just this going on. I think it's more than this. I feel it's not just us growing, but it's like it's all kind of groaning and just saying, look, just don't worry about this. Let's do something else. It's like, don't worry about those books. Let's go to a party. Don't worry about it. And this is where we also have to be very careful right now, and this is very needed. So for certain people, there are times when they can't respect what nature is giving them. Okay, so for example, nature is giving you abundance, and you say, no, I'm not going to eat, I'm not taking nothing here. There's also times when nature is giving you a little surprise, and it's trying to prickle you, and just, surprise, chiropractic appointment. And some people can't relax and let it go as well. And we have to basically here forget the previous things that we've had in our minds and our hearts where we're so stubborn and so beautiful to ourselves only if we complained. Sometimes complaints are very like hardcore these days, especially in certain places in the world. Like complaint is the way of life. I'm going to sue you. I'm going to complain. I'm going to like afford more than this. I'm going to take you to prison, I'm going to take you to the boss, They can sometimes come through, and we've got to basically not use this energy to make sense of our life. If you have it within you, if you're a little stroppy sometimes with your kids, your family, your mom, dad, whatever, somebody will stroppy with you, and you believe that in some weird way, sharing love or giving advice or being truthful is about being controlling and kind of sabotaging of little joys that you might be having within yourself and with others. It doesn't really matter if you live with other people. Sometimes people that have been abused or that have been scrutinized as children, they might use their own space to scrutinize themselves. Their inner way, how they treat food, how they treat hygiene, how they treat their day. And that has to be unmasked. That is one of the top problems in society. I mean, self-talk, bad self-talk, bad talk at yourself, bad talk at another, bad talk at anything. This rubbish coffee, oh, this person doesn't know what they're doing. She doesn't know what she's talking about, that rubbish person. Now, see here, you've got a choice to make. And the best one is not to fight this. And it's already happened. Okay? It's already happened. And it happened way maybe before your birth even. And some of this is very destined. And I've talked a little bit about this earlier. Some of this is destined, you guys. So some of this is very high quantum. Rat, any Chinese zodiac year, it gains momentum and goes to this really full essence here around this time. I mean, here, we're talking rat finding things and helping things surface and letting things evolve out of darkness or known states. And there is something about Sagittarius is going to be like, pew, 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 launch those arrows. And some of it is crazy stuff. So this is where life finds you. Here's where you find, say, the love of your life. You accidentally get signed to a big brand or, contract. You get offered a lot. And you might find that one thing. Like, wow, that is the one. And the main thing here basically is not to moan about it, not to complain about it. It's kind of like what to do, when you have something gone from you because someone else finds. You see, or like, what if you don't find someone else next to you can see or can do, you cannot do. The main concept is to do you. So now is not the time to do market research. A lot of astrologers and people that are into this, they're like, oh yeah, Aquarian time, market research, check out what's online, what's on YouTube, what's everyone doing. That creates a background noise. It creates an ambience to a very good concept that comes from inside of you, comes from inside your soul. So like all the stuff other people are doing, they're digging around, checking their, credits, they're checking their paperwork, they're checking, that's not a sign of connection, that's a sign of control. If you need control, you're in the wrong story. If you have to do a background check on your boyfriend or girlfriend, if you are looking for their phone, you're in the wrong story, you guys. If you're going through online media, looking for a friend, you don't trust whoever's around you physically right now, you are so in the wrong story for this particular period. And the thing is basically to lose control. South Node, Moon, Sun, Mercury, okay? Who gives a fluff? Just, who gives? Who gives? That's not like the answer. Some people sometimes scramble. They see it's almost like ice breaking. It's like something slipping from under their feet. They're like, oh my God, oh no. I've got to do all these things to try and control this back again. Like I'm losing my mind. I'm losing my money. I'm losing my significant other. I'm losing. And sometimes people clench. Now, clenching is going to be hard later. If you could, any incentive to leave something behind, give something away, forgive, forget, lose something, just release it. Anything that's just taken from you, anybody that's leaving you, anybody that doesn't want to be your friend anymore, doesn't want, give them even a little bit more space to do that. Give that phenomena, even just a little bit more space to evolve itself. Don't shut it down. No, we're not breaking up. No. Please, leave it alone and see what it does. It's like sometimes during these times people are like actors on stage. Let them say every single word. Let them act out. Let them be their character. Learn from it. And also I have to say, if you have the capacity to do so, walk out of most things. It's like one of those things, if there is like, feeling about, just try to evade responsibility, evade Evade all those concepts that you thought you'd create. Evade the concept of trying so hard. Evade, and walk out. And also one last thing, don't do that which another person wants you to do. Sol conjunct South Node. There, if you have it in your chart, if your North Node is across from your sign, never mind, but please. Sun conjunct South Node. You might not be able to withstand the push of it's probably already happening. Another person wanting you to do something. I want you to love me. Oh, okay. I want you to pay for my dinner. Oh, okay. I want you to work for me. I want you to garden in my backyard. I want you to pay for my petrol. I want you to drive me somewhere. Please don't do any more for anyone that you don't want really that much to do. It's so easy to lose yourself here. Please do this. Do this, don't do it. Even though they might be your best friend. Try to evade responsibility. That's a weakness for Sagittarius. And yes, all done. Thank you very much, you guys. Please have a look at my website if you'd like a reading. Also, I have special this month, and it's a very popular special. I'm doing annual reports for the year ahead, which are basically about 10 to 13 page reports where I outline your year. I talk about you, about the current challenges, and also what other challenges you might have during this time. Then I talk about every month in specific and in particular, and I talk a little bit about you and what you are most likely to go for, and how to take yourself back from unbeneficial circumstances and situations, and how to program your time better. So believe it or not, they're very on point. I do these for myself. I actually also predict every day for myself, and very, very, very well. I've been living like this for about 3 years now. If you'd like a yearly report, they are now 25% off. So I usually offer them at $80 US, and now I'm offering them at $60 for the month of December. So if you would like a $60 annual yearly report, please be patient. I have a line of people. And they're quite a successful feature. I've actually had quite a few people come back with amazing results, and like they've been able to like weasel themselves out of responsibilities and drudgerous jobs and whatever, change location, work out their marriages, all of these different things, because they really help these things. And they are also on my booking page. But they're at $80 on my booking page. If you do book an annual report this month, I will refund you $20. So yes, I've also got an almanac. I already talked about it. I have a 2021 almanac that I've written for you. So it's a really good manual. It comes as a digital and a physical copy. So if you'd like, take a look. Have a look at my website. You can sign up to a newsletter if you like, and I'll add you in so I can update you more frequently. And yes, if you want a reading with me, go ahead. Very chock-a-block this month. Yes, and also I have a journey actually. I'm going on a plant journey with a Shipibo grandmother maestro. On the 14th. So yes, on the solar eclipse I will be taken. This is the first time I'll be sitting with an authentic Shipibo shaman in ceremony, leading the ceremony like this, which is going to be a very, I suppose, extreme experience, because I have a lot of heart and a lot of compassion and a lot of love and a lot of care for these people and for this medicine that has changed my life completely many a time. So I'm considering some space. All the readings will be done. I have quite the train, a little train of readings. All the readings will be done, but they might take a little time. If you'd like to book a reading with me during this time, they will probably be very, very meticulous, and they will probably be very, very strong, because I will have that extra energy helping me work. So if you'd like a reading this month, I'll probably be pretty crisp and clear during this time. If you'd like a face-to-face reading, probably would be better to book after the 16th, just so I have a couple of days to recover. And yes, solstice. I will be reading for you about solstice soon enough, very soon, and help you organize the rest of your year. And yes, of course, all the information about Christmas and the paradox of the new year, everything like that, I will outline it again during the next video that is due very soon. And yes, of course, another little piece of news is that yes, I am going to perhaps start bombarding you with information. I have a sorry, I'm joking. Jupiter and Aquarius video series coming up this month. Stay tuned. Saturn and Aquarius already exists. It is on my channel, so check out Saturn and Aquarius. That already is there as a playlist for all signs. And also 2021 is going to be a very, very interesting ride. I will wait till I am comfortable and free enough, and as soon as I'm free, I will do that for you guys. That's my priority. So this is going to be on YouTube, and I'm going to do all 12 videos for the year to come shortly. Thank you very much. Please join my Patreon if you'd like more information, and I'll see you next time. Bye.